Hey there, Fran from the Redefine Group. Today we're going to be sharing with you a training video on the Janssen Cosmetics exfoliation system. Now, the exfoliation system has been really popular and is a super effective treatment for any of your clients. So if you are thinking about using the exfoliation system, you need to watch this video. If you're already using the exfoliation system, you need to watch this video. Okay, so I'm going to hand over to Helen now. And if there are any questions, obviously, you can always pick up the phone and reach out or send me an email. All right, talk to you soon. Bye.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Janssen Cosmetics Exfoliation System training session. My name's Helen, and I'm here to explain to you why you need the exfoliation system from us. It's customizable. This particular system has different strengths of alpha hydroxy acids and beta hydroxy acids that can take your client's skin to the next level. It's a professional only product. It's not for retail. It's perfect for those clients that possibly have an event coming up and they want to look fresh and renewed. If they've got oily skin, congested skin, they might have back acne. They might have keratosis pilaris, those little lumps and bumps on their arms. So you can use this on the face and the body, and it will take their skin to feel new, look smooth, their makeup will be great, and it'll regenerate and wake up the skin. So sit back and I'll go through the slides and explain it in a little bit more depth. Okay, so this system, as I said, is exclusively for use in the salon. It's a professional only product. It's a system that's detailed where the therapist can customise the treatments for each client and adjust not only the time but the intensity and the strength of the exfoliator gel that they're using on the client. We use 5 different types of alpha hydroxy acids. We use glycolic acid, which comes from sugarcane, lactic acid, which comes from milk, malic acid, which comes from pears and apples, citric acid, oranges and lemons, and of course tartaric acid from grapes. So let's move on and let's find out what sort of treatments the exfoliation system is good for. So it's suitable actually for all types of skin, but with a sensitive skin, it wouldn't be my first type of treatment that I would use. First of all, I would build strength in the skin and then I would proceed on to this one. So make sure the skin's reasonably strong. We don't want to do it straight on a really weak, vulnerable skin. But other than that, any type of skin. So it's really good for impure skin, skin that has few blemishes, open and closed comedones, or an oily skin. It'll help reduce your pores, it'll refine your pores, it'll unclog your pores, so you're going to get less build-up underneath the skin. Just remember when using it on an oily skin or a pustular skin that the skin must be intact. Okay, so if someone has picked a pimple and it's open, the product is not to be put over the top of that. It's also a very good treatment for light-induced skin damage or light-induced hyperpigmentation. This is where we have an overproduction of melanin. So the cells on top of the top layer, the corneocytes, they hold on to a lot of old pigment. So when we use these exfoliated gels, it will remove that, it'll desquamate those old corneocytes, and the skin will appear smoother, more even in colour and texture, and it will reflect the light because the skin cells will be smooth and not sticking up. So it appears a lot smoother as well, as feeling a lot smoother. Small lines and wrinkles. For people who are an ageing person, it's perfect for them. It will help minimise and soften the look of their lines. If someone has a tired, pale complexion, it brightens it. It gets rid of that grey veil. It's very good on the body too. So for people who suffer from keratosis pilaris, which is that rough chicken-looking skin that's often found on the back of the arms or the back of the legs, it can also be found on the face. There's no infection involved with this particular disorder, but this treatment is very good for that. It's also good for surface scars, ingrown hairs, and a skin that's lacking moisture, so a dehydrated skin, because the quality of the epidermis is improved and the cells lower down in the basal cell are stimulated. So it's for a number of different types of skin that you can use this treatment for. How does the exfoliation system work? So the gel will help to break down the desmosomes, or the protein bonds between the skin cells that hold the corneocytes together. It'll help dissolve that, but it also removes those corneocytes. So it removes them from the top layer of the skin. The products are then able to penetrate through the layers more easily. It's also a regulating treatment. So it contains, one of the particular gels contains salicylic acid, which is perfect for an oily skin or a congested skin, because the gel can get down into the pore and it can help dissolve the cell debris that's preventing the sebum from coming out. So it's a bit like a bottle brush cleaning a bottle. So it cleans the pore out, then the sebum can flow and we're not going to get that clogging from happening. So it's an excellent treatment for that. It's also very good in reducing pore size. It improves the acid mantle and the skin will become clearer and pure again. It's regenerating. The exfoliated gel can penetrate down into the deeper layers of the epidermis, where it has a stimulating effect and it'll boost collagen and elastin synthesis. It's moisturising, so it helps to improve the quality of the epidermis and the stimulation of the cells in the dermis. And it's also brightening, as I said earlier. So those uppermost corneocytes, which hold on to the old pigment and accumulate, they're removed, and the exfoliation system will dislodge these and leave the skin looking more even in colour and a lot brighter. So let's have a look at the products that are in the line. There's 6 products in the line. There's 1 cleanser, 4 different strengths of exfoliating gels. So from 20%, 30%, 40% and 60%. There's also 1 neutraliser. Now, Janssen Cosmetics use synthetically obtained fruit acids. They have the same molecular structure as fruit acids which occur naturally, but they're synthetically obtained, so they have the same molecular structure and they're called nature identical. They're just balanced to ensure skin tolerability, which is very important because we don't want to have any undesired side effects. So, but the effectiveness of the acids is still retained. Moving on, let's have a look at the products individually now. So let's start with the cleanser. This is step 1 in the exfoliation system. It's a gentle cleanser which removes dirt, makeup and any skin residues, but don't use it on the eyes. It's not an eye makeup remover. It has a keratolytic effect, meaning that it starts to dissolve the outer skin layers. It's slightly acidic. It has a pH value of 4.2. Now, your skin is normally between 4.5 and 5.5. So it may have a little bit of a tingle, but not too much. It's a creamy consistency. You don't need to leave it on the skin for more than about 3 to 5 minutes. It has a really creamy consistency, as you can see there. It has a little bit of a tingle. The pH value is 4.2, so you may feel that because skin is normally between 4.5 and 5.5. Yeah, it's a gentle, mild cleanser, but don't use it on the eye area. Yeah. So step 2 in the exfoliation system is where we use the exfoliating gels. So as I said, there's different strengths. And the first one is Exfoliator 20. We need to choose the most appropriate for the right skin condition. And Exfoliator 20 is very good as a starting point for all those skins, and it's fantastic even for sensitive skin. It's got a pH value of 4.2, so it's not going to be really tingly. You need to look at the skin, so if it's thick or thin, how hydrated it is, and then you can decide really how long you can leave it on the skin. Minimum 3 minutes, it says there, to 20 minutes. But if you see that the skin is turning red under 3 minutes, you can get it off. That's just a guide for you, but don't leave it on longer than 20 minutes. This one does have AHAs, so it's got all those AHAs that I talked about before. So Exfoliator 20 means 20% of nature identical fruit acids. Always stay with your client too when you put this on the skin. We don't want to leave them just in case they do have a reaction. So always stay there and you can adjust the time accordingly. Keep a record of their skin, or even if there's no reaction, keep a record of that too. This particular Exfoliator 20 is also good for people with impurities as well. It's a good starting point. It just gives a very light peeling, and it's very good also for open and closed comedones too. The next one, Exfoliator 30. This one's quite mild. I have one here. This is Exfoliator 30. So this is the next strength up. It's 30% of AHAs. I just pop about 3 pumps, usually does the whole face. Using a fan brush, you can see it's a clear gel, and I put it all over the face, avoiding the eye area. And I'll go into a little bit more depth about that because we don't want to do the eye area. But we can go all over the cheeks, around the mouth, up on the forehead, down the sides. And this is left on for a minimum of 3 minutes up to 15 minutes, so no more than 15 minutes. Now, have a look at the pH level there. It's 3.6. So this one does tingle a little bit more. If they don't feel the tingle, it doesn't mean that it's not doing anything. If it doesn't come up red, it doesn't mean that it's not doing anything either. It is. So just go with it. Exfoliator 40 is the next one. This is quite intensive now. Again, pH 3.6. Again, it'll probably tingle a little bit, but don't worry if it doesn't. You wouldn't start a client on this. Always start on a lesser strength peel before using a 40. Know their skin. This may be their second or third treatment with this system. Just don't start with this one. This is also a great one to start with, though, for the body. So if they've got acne or they've got keratosis pilaris, you can use this one on that first up. That would be fine. But just stay with them and keep a check on them. It's also good for stretch marks too. Now, the next one is Exfoliator 60, and this is the most intensive, but the pH is still 3.6. So it's probably not going to tingle more. It'll probably tingle less, and that's because it contains salicylic acid, and that has an anti-inflammatory effect on the skin. So sometimes it doesn't tingle as much, but it's very effective. This is ideal for people with congestion or that really want to finish off their treatment with a big kick. So with this one, it is more suited to an oily skin, but a mature skin or a sun-damaged skin can use this one as well. Remember, with these, apply an eye cream around the eyes before putting this gel on, and then cover the eyes just with a damp cotton pad just to protect the eye area. Use the fan brush like I showed you to apply the gel. Don't waste the product. You only need a thin layer. It's not as thick as a mask. Now, Exfoliator 20, 30 and 40, they all contain AHAs, which are water soluble. Whereas Exfoliator 60, the most intensive one, does contain AHAs, but it also has the salicylic acid in it too. People with a higher Fitzpatrick skin type, possibly 4, 5, 6, are at more risk of pigment changes with a BHA. So it's recommended those prone to post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation to prepare their skin before doing a treatment like this. So using cosmeceutical products that contain niacinamide, because this helps to block melanin getting to the keratinoids, vitamin C, which is a tyrosinase inhibitor, and vitamin A, which just helps increase cell turnover. So they should prepare their skin the month before using exfoliator 60. Even saccharide isomerate actually is very good inhibiting production of melanin, so it prevents pigment transfer to corneocytes and to epidermal cells. The next step is the neutralising gel. Have this ready set up. So when you're setting up, have this out in your little glass container. I'll just show you what I do. So with your neutraliser, glass dish, have this prepared before you even put the exfoliator gel on. A few pumps, a fresh fan brush, not the same one that you use the exfoliator gel on, and apply this over the top. So have this ready, set up to go. So remove any exfoliator gel with a spatula or even a cotton pad. There probably won't be much excess if you're using it right. A lot of it gets absorbed. Just use it sparingly. Use the fan brush to apply it. Leave it on for about a minute, and then spatula off any excess, which will hardly be anything, or wipe off the remainder with a damp cotton pad. Don't apply a lot of water, okay? Just wipe it off with a damp pad. And then repeat it if necessary. If it hasn't been all absorbed, just wipe off the excess, otherwise leave it. Now, you must neutralise to stop the acid from continuing to be active. It leaves the skin in a healthy state, and it must be applied every single time you use an exfoliator gel. Even if you see no reaction, it's unsafe not to do this step. Now let's have a look at the treatment recommendation. We recommend a course of treatments over a 4-week period. An example might be doing on week 1, exfoliator 20, and then week 2, exfoliator 30, week 3, 40, week 4, 60. This is just an example, allowing 7 days between treatments. But please work individually, case by case with your client's condition. Sometimes it's not needed or possible to use all 4 exfoliators. You might start with 20, then you might go to 30, you might repeat 30 again. And then as the last kick, you might do 60. So try and work with your client's skin condition. It's very important to customise the treatment to suit their skin. Prior to the treatment, a thorough analysis of the skin must be done, and a thorough analysis of the client. So we need to talk about with your client any skin diseases or medical conditions that they may have. We need to discuss before treatment and after care, their lifestyle factors. There's no point doing a course of treatments if they're off to the Bahamas and going on the beach for the next month. Okay, so talk to them. What do they do for a job? Are they working with hot ovens and hot dishwashers and things like that? So have a chat to them about all this. One of the most important things is also finding out what their current skincare regime is. They need to be using good quality cosmeceuticals, and you should have them on the Janssen range, because then you know that those products that they're using won't have acids in them, so they're not doubling up, and then they could get a reaction. So you must know what they're using. Also, explain the concentration levels of the different intensities to the client, and then they must finish with sunscreen. Do they use FaceGuard Advanced? because you know what's in FaceGuard Advanced. So it's important to understand what type of sunscreen they are using. You could package this up as a 4-week course, and you could also include a FaceGuard Advanced with that and just price accordingly if you want to. 1 week prior to the treatment, we must ensure that the clients don't wax their face or use a depilatory cream or any sort of depilation on their face beforehand. No facial masks containing enzymes and no peeling processes of any type need to be done a week before the treatment, because we don't want to double exfoliate. That's just too much. No hair dyes. So that means like you're bleaching. So if some people bleach their hair on their face, that shouldn't be done that week prior to having this type of treatment. Ideally, no makeup either when they come. Eye makeup probably wouldn't be a problem, but I'm talking more foundation. We just don't want to irritate the skin anymore on the day. So when the client's booking in for the treatments, just have a discussion with them about this so they can schedule their appointment. They don't want to probably do it lunchtime and then have to go back to work. On the day of the treatment, no shaving, no aftershave. If they're a man, they might, no shaving. That will just sting too much. It's too much for the skin to take as well. During the treatment, with the exfoliation system, no additional peeling methods. So you're not going to use a mechanical peel or an enzyme peel as well, and no vapor zone equipment. We don't want any heat, because heat can stimulate melanocyte pigment. So we don't steam. No depilation, as I discussed earlier, and no eyebrow correction or upper lip depilation. You can, however, tweeze. Okay, that's all right. After the treatment, no sweat-inducing activities such as sport. Now, this is more about the salt, that when they sweat, the salt comes out on the skin and it may itch or tingle. So it doesn't really affect the result. It just makes the client feel a little bit uncomfortable. So make the client aware of this. Also, sun protection is very important. Winter and summer. We know that UVA affects our skin in winter or summer, doesn't matter, from sun up to sun down. So they must wear sun protection all year round. And depilation, just as I said earlier, it doesn't affect the result, but it just may feel unpleasant. The routine. Let's have a look at the routine. So we cleanse. We just distribute the cleanser, massage it in gently, and then remove completely, and just avoid contact with the eyes or the mucous membranes. As I said earlier, protect the eye area. Use an eye cream and cover the eyes with just damp pads. And then we put the exfoliator gel on for the appropriate time, and make sure we've prepared that neutralizer in your second bowl. Put your timer on. Use a little timer so you make sure that your timing is right, and keep a record of that. And please remain with your customer in the treatment room during the exposure time. Yeah, talk to your client. Ask your client questions. How they are feeling when it's on their skin, and even when they went home, how did it feel afterwards? That constant communication with your client is very important, and keep a record of all of it. A good way also is ask your client how it's feeling when the gel is on their skin. Ask them on a scale of 1 to 10, how itchy or irritating is it? That might be an idea of giving you some feedback and helping you with where they're at with the feeling of it. Okay. And what you can do also, just so you don't get mixed up with your neutralizer and your gel, you can always put a black cross on the bottom of your glass dish of your exfoliator, so you know that that's the exfoliator and you're not reapplying that one, and you don't get mixed up with that and your neutralizer. So it just sort of clarifies it and makes everything clear. So I'm up to neutralization. So remove the excess exfoliator with a spatula. and damp cotton pad if you need to. Just apply the neutraliser with a fan brush, so it's just a thin layer all over, and pay particular attention to the wings of the nose and the corners of the mouth, and allow that to be on the skin for about a minute. If need be, you can neutralise the second time if they're still feeling quite a bit of tingle. Remove any excess with the spatula or the moist cotton pad, and remember to avoid contact with the eyes or mucous membranes. Pop on an eye care product, and of course, finish with Face Guard Advanced. Okay. When you feel that the barrier, the strength of the skin is okay, I would definitely be using Janssen Cosmetics for 4 weeks prior to the treatment. So I think the Intense Calming Cream and the Pro-Immune Serum and the Anti-Pollution Cream are all good products that will help prepare the skin and build strength into the skin. I would use these products for 4 weeks leading up to the exfoliation system treatment, and then check if it's okay, and then you can proceed with the treatment. If you have an open cut or pustule, you can use a thick eye cream. I would be choosing even a barrier cream. Yeah, rich eye contour cream would be perfect for this. It's about irritating the eyes. We don't want to risk any gel actually getting into the eye. So make sure eye cream and eye pads over the top. You can do a course, it depends on the client's skin. If they're a sensitive skin, they might do it maybe twice a year. If they're a thicker, sun-damaged or oily, thick skin, you can do it much more often. But I really recommend doing it once a week for 4 weeks as a course, and then giving it a break for a few months and then going back and doing it again. You need to give your skin a break to help build up that hydrolipidic barrier to full strength again. Because remember, what's actually happening is we're removing the corneocytes from the top layer and reducing the thickness of the stratum corneum. So we want to build that back up again. Some undesired side effects might be peeling, could be redness, could be inflammation, irritation, itchiness, heat. If you see that the skin is turning red, remove the product and put the neutraliser on straight away. Yeah. So even if you haven't reached the time limit, pop the neutraliser on, remove the exfoliator gel, put the neutraliser straight on, and that will bring it back to the correct pH. Absolutely neutralise. You cannot not neutralise. It's so important. If you don't, the skin will stay in an acidic state. So we need the skin to come back to a normal state, or it's going to feel irritated for days, and you will probably get an adverse side effect. So it's very important. Put the neutraliser on to bring it back. When we use an exfoliator gel, the pH takes it to more acidic. So our skin's between 4.5 and 5.5 on the pH scale. When we use the exfoliator gels, the skin then goes to more acidic. So it's more irritated. When we use the neutraliser, it actually brings it back to a slightly acidic, a normal acidicness of the skin, because we want that to come back to about 5.3. So the Fitzpatrick scale goes from 1 to 6, 1 being the most fairest skin to 6 being the darkest type of skin, and then it varies in between. No, you don't need to wash off the peel and the neutraliser. You can just scrape any excess, if there is excess, scrape it off with a spatula. You may use a damp pad if need be, but you don't need to wash it off. Why not? Because water is drying. Water will make it even drier and irritated. So it's not necessary. Just scrape it off and apply the neutraliser, and same with the neutraliser. Any excess, scrape it off. Don't apply it too thickly. You're wasting your product. They need to avoid heat at all costs if they're doing these treatments. They need to be able to keep their skin cool. So possibly avoiding those things that are creating heat if they can. Heat will not be good. Yeah, maybe they need to do it on their holidays or when they're out of that environment. The next day would be suitable to put makeup on. You can have eye makeup on, but not foundations on the day. What I do is I put a cross in the bottom of my glass dish. So I put my exfoliator in there and I put the neutraliser in the plain glass dish so I don't get them mixed up. Hope you've enjoyed the slides. If you have any questions or queries, please reach out to Fran at the Redefine Group. Thank you.